Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Oh, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
For all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Back of the net.
It didn't happen in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reached the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
A modern day football miracle. They have blown their rivals away. They have blown us all away in truth. Premier League champions 2016, the amazing Leicester City.
Till I Die TV, your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
And now, here's your host.
Right, Chris.
All right there, how the devil are we? Welcome along. Yes, it is over. And there's footballing wives everywhere going, thank God for that. There's footballing men everywhere going, God, I've got to go shopping on a Saturday afternoon now. But then again, it's not always Saturday, is it? I mean, you can't even say that these days. Welcome along. It's a sloppy second show. This is the Leicester Till I Die Awards. We were on earlier with Julian Watts, the ex-Leicester City defender, who was judging every team. He was giving A to Ds out for every team. I had my red pen. I had my form cards for the teams. And he was the headmaster. This, though, is a little bit different. You know the regular presenters with me. You see them show after show. Well, they're here, and they are going to be giving out their awards for the season, along with myself. So it could get very interesting. So let us know in the description if you agree with them or not. We don't agree with each other, so I'm not expecting any much luck there, to be honest with you. It's Leicester Till I Die TV. If you're getting onto YouTube, please go on to Leicester Till I Die TV. Subscribe, as it says there. And also, if you would be so kind, please smash the likes and click that notification bell. I'll tell you about them at the end of the show, but we have got a couple of crackers. That's the way I tell them. A couple of crackers coming up this week with shows. This is Leicester Till I Die TV.
You're watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
I played the wrong one there because it had the Soccer Sunday framework around it. But if you didn't catch the watch along, basically we did our version of Sky Soccer Saturday, but on a Sunday. We called it called Soccer Sunday. We spent hours coming up with that name. I'm not going to lie to you. We have our very own Chris Kamara. Anthony, you were on early. If you're on again, Chris Kamara, mate, brilliant. He I think his link was so far behind. I think he's still taking part in it. We're going to say good evening to Hayden. How the devil are you? Welcome along, sir. Spurs, evening, Chris. Hope you're well. Back into the Champions League. Well done, sir. Well done. And you got a very good mark on the season review report earlier with Julian. So, yeah, good season for you. Got a good manager. You may make sure you hold on to him. Hey, we've got some good co-hosts as well this evening. They're all in. It's going to be a version of the Generation Game, I'm sure. But let's first of all, you're used to seeing her on a Monday, usually a bit earlier. Lou, who does the Premier League review show with me. Good evening, Lou. Can you believe it's over?
Yeah, just got the summer to wait until it all starts again. But yeah, not a bad season overall, I don't think, with everything considered. I think finishing 8th was a pretty good good end to it all. And obviously the win at the weekend was very much appreciated.
It was. Ended with a bit of a flurry, and you could say, yeah, it's only Norwich and it's only Watford, but, 3 or 4 months ago we'd have struggled to get 1 goal, let alone 3 or 5, So, I would agree with you. Let's see if he, who distributes the wine and the bread, agrees. Brad, good evening. How the devil are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thanks. How are you, mate?
Not so bad. I mean, given everything else, I did put this up at the start of the show, and I have posted it on Facebook and Twitter. Community Shield winners, Premier League 8th, UEFA Conference League semi-finalists. We've had worse seasons, haven't we?
Yeah, we definitely have. We've for sure had some worse seasons. I think this was probably a season where you said worst case scenario to people in August. You said worst case scenario was going to be 8th. People would have said, "Oh, that's okay." So, met with a bit of twinge of disappointment not making Europe. But I think, given everything that's gone on this season, take everything into account, it's made it a good season. And it's good for the lads to end an indifferent season in good form. It's always nice. It doesn't matter if it won't be till August that they play competitive again. They're still going to have that feel-good factor to remind themselves of.
Indeed. And we'll bring in the man who, let's be honest with you, he'd be late for his own funeral. But good evening, Craig. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thanks. How you doing, Chris? All right, Lou, Brad.
Thanks.
Hey, Community Shield or the English, and I'm not the only person. If you want to, I think it's transfermarket.co.uk. They also call it the English Super Cup. So it's not
Quite
just
right.
myself, but English Super Cup winners, 8th and UEFA Conference semi-finalists. Like I say, we've had worse.
Yeah, no, it's not bad at the end of the day once when you realise what we've been through and how bleak things seemed for a while, and how we managed to get all through the Brendan out period, and 10 out of the last 12 points. I think also there's a tinge of a missed opportunity as well, because I was looking at the points total, so and where that would have got you last year. So Man United finished 6th on 58 points. And do you know where that would have got you last year? 11th.
Oh, 11th
that would have got you last year.
Yeah.
And this year that was enough to get 6th. So, I know most teams can, but we can easily find, some extra points that we threw away at the end of games. Just those points in injury time.
Don't even go West Ham.
So all in all, a decent season, but just one tinged a little bit with frustration. But it probably won't do us any harm to just have a season of concentrating on the league next season.
I think it will give a lot of people reality check. Really.
It does, but what it means is there are no excuses.
Well, that's the other side of the coin, the flip side of the coin. But I was just saying before then, to dive to Brad, Craig, I was saying Perez, 2 goals in the last. You've got to give him another contract, haven't we?
Oh, well, at least statue, I'm thinking.
Well, if only.
Yeah, he looked. I can say it was interesting because I don't know how much they showed what you managed to see yesterday of the game live stream, but obviously being there and watching the body language of the players going around the pitch, then I'm not sure Perez will be here next season, to be honest. It was pointed out by my daughter, the fact that he didn't really celebrate either of his goals, and he was filming the crowd on the lap at the end, as if it was a bit of a I may not see this again.
Well, I don't think any of us would necessarily be surprised, but you never know with Brendan. You never know.
You do need a squad. That's the whole thing, isn't it? We'd there are players that wouldn't necessarily make our 11s, any of us, but you do need a squad. So
yeah. Well, here we go. The end of season awards. You had the categories. You have voted. I just need to get this up on my other screen so I can multitask.
Is it okay that Chris, just before we get started, is it okay that I apologise for not voting for Ukraine in any of these categories?
Well, I mean, I was disappointed. I'm not going to lie out there. Obviously you had, you didn't watch Eurovision this year because you were away, but your phone must have been red hot with all them votes for them.
Well, indeed. I did think that was the done thing on awards shows this year. So, but I've gone against the trend and I've not given Ukraine or North Macedonia any points.
You will be the scum. You will be ignored now. You're the pariah of Leicester, I'll tell you. But for me, and I know it was probably not a lot of many Eurovision fans out there, but for me, it was a moral victory. Come on, Sam, you did well. Lou Bradley going, what the hell are they talking about? But this is it. This is the end of season awards. You've got 6 categories: game of the season, the young player of the season, most improved player, and Perez didn't appear there. I don't know why again. Unsung player, player of the season, and moment of the season. And what we'll do is I'll go with mine first, then we'll go Louise, Craig, Brad, and go around that way. And you can say why you have chosen those particular ones. So we're going to start with game of the season. And we all have different ones for different reasons for picking different ones. For me, and I know somebody else nearly went for this, but I have gone for the Liverpool victory at the KP, because basically we'd lost to them a few weeks before in very annoying circumstances, especially sort of going to penalties and what have you, and we weren't given a chance in this one. We had a very depleted squad. Chowdhury was playing in defence. In fact, this might have been the last time we saw him this season. And we still, Lookman got the goal. We held on. We were throwing our bodies in front of the, a bit like Chelsea at the weekend. We came back from London with a coach full of kitchen sinks, I think, because we were catching up. So, and I thought it would be the start, maybe where we turned our season round. Another false dawn. Anybody got any thoughts on that game at all?
I mean,
I have to agree with what you said. When you lose to a team like Liverpool and then have to play them so soon afterwards, to get a victory, it's very, very impressive. And I thought we played pretty well in the game, so I can understand why you choose it.
Yeah. Brad?
Yeah, I mean, I think this was a game where, hadn't we also gone through a spell of giving away penalties? And that had been costing us because we'd been a bit rubbish at the back, and then we'd go and give away a penalty or something. I feel like we went for a bit of a stage, and then Liverpool, we gave away the penalty for Lols because that was Leicester at that time as well as conceding from corners, and Salah missed it. It was a milestone goal chance as well. He missed. Couldn't have happened to a nicer bloke when it comes to playing against Leicester, because he always seems to score past us, as well as Diego Jota. And and then indeed he was in that defence as well, Chris, as well, which made it even more marvellous. The guy who actually started as a centre back as a youngster, but is predominantly known to play in our midfield, and probably at the time our best defensive performance.
Probably was.
Yeah,
Craig,
definitely in the talking part. I would definitely say that it was definitely floating around the mind when it was originally.
Yeah. Craig.
Yeah, I think
you thought about this one, didn't you?
Well, definitely. As I say, I think I sort of just shied away based on the wording of the question of game of the season, and I think, as I mentioned to you before off air previously, if it was performance of the season, then I think I would have given it to this one, because as you said, everything looked to be going against us, but as soon as that penalty was missed, it was like it galvanized the team, it galvanized the crowd, and it was like I think I said afterwards, it was like we got our old Leicester back.
Yeah.
Because everybody was fighting for every ball, and we really dug in, and and the goal, the whole thing. So yeah, it was right up there for me in terms of it would be the performance of the season, but just not quite the game of the season.
Yeah.
Do you know, after thinking about it a bit more, what game it actually reminds me of? The FA Cup game in, I think, 97 against Chelsea. Well, we had like 4 or 5 players missing from the first team. O'Neill had to pick, and we were 2-0 down. We ended up drawing 2-2. So when we went on to win the Coca-Cola Cup against Middlesbrough that same season, anyone remember that FA Cup game against Chelsea? Because it felt like that with the amount of changes and depleted we had on our squad.
We'll give you that one. I think we're all struggling.
No one remember that. Wow, I can't remember
that one.
That.
But well, none of you have said I was stupid for picking that one.
No, not at all.
Louise, let's have a look at your choice. And I can see why you went for this Roma first leg.
Yeah, kind of don't need to say why, I guess, but I think when we first entered the conference, there was a dismissive attitude of it. And in those early rounds, I went to see every game because it was easy enough to get tickets. Came to that semi-final, and obviously then it got difficult to get tickets, and I couldn't actually go to the game. Yeah. But just to know that is something that is happening to Leicester. Well, we don't have much European pedigree, obviously. So every time we get into Europe, it should be a big deal, and it was. The tie obviously didn't go our way, and that game didn't exactly go our way either. But just the atmosphere must have been amazing, and the occasion for that game made it the game of the season for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was a semi-final,
but game of the season for sure.
Yeah, and it was Roma. We're not talking about a Blob Glimt here or a Randers. Brad, your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it's memorable for all the right reasons. As it was, it was a marked occasion for the club, and getting to a semi-final of European competition. To think we were sitting here years ago thinking we'd never see the likes of the Champions League again after we pulled off the miracle. It was going to be a one-off thing, and maybe Leicester would drift back. We had that stint out as well, didn't we? We did have that stint out where we wouldn't get to Europe, so it was understandable to see. People might say, "Oh, well, you did start in the European, the Europa League," but again, the pedigree speaks for itself. The fact that we were able to bounce back from that and push on, and in the end, we were a goal shy of forcing the tie all the way. So the second leg, and it just shows where we are as a team. It's a very good game to pick.
Craig, your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, as you say, I mean that'll go down in history as the club's first European semi-final. As I say, we gave a very good account of ourselves. Fantastic atmosphere. Shame we just couldn't get the win to take over to Rome with us. But yeah, it's a milestone game.
And then I'll come to Louise on it because it's your choice, Louise. Like you said, everybody was poo-pooing the conference at the start. But I think we know which teams it was that were doing that. But you're not other teams' fans, I should say. But to me, going out to Roma in the semi-finals of the Europa Conference was a darn sight better and more rewarding than going out to Slavia Prague in the last 16 in the Europa League.
Yeah, and again, we're not in a position where we can be picky where we get our first semi-final from. We're not Chelsea. We're not going to get Champions League every season. We're not. That's not who we are yet. Maybe one day, maybe after our time, who knows? But you can't have a semi-final in Europe as a Leicester fan and not just take it for what it is.
Yes.
Enjoy the thing. Yes, it did go our way. Yes, we probably, in all fairness, should have scored more on that night. But experience as well for the players. There's a lot of young players that never had played in Europe before this season, got to a semi-final. Why is that not more celebrated? By our own fans as much as anyone else. And it isn't the one we wanted. We know that. We wanted Champions League. let's be honest about it. That's what we want to win if we could choose.
Yes.
We can't. So we
Yeah.
have to just go with it a little bit as well, and just, like I say, just enjoy what we have.
Yeah.
Well,
Terry says a game of the season for me was the latest game against Villa. I had the best sleep for years. Do not remind me, Terry. I had to do a watch along on my own, and I need a BAFTA for that performance. The fact that I had anything to talk about for 90 minutes was completely. I was impressed with myself. But yeah, I was probably sleeping as well. Max, good evening. Congratulations on winning the Premier League yesterday. Well done, mate. You made life difficult for yourself. Talking of which, Craig, we're going to look at yours next. This was the one you plumped for in the end, the 4-2 over Manchester United.
Yeah, and I think it was because, we were asked for the game of the season, and I think it was the sheer excitement and roller coaster nature of this game that had everything. The crowd was up for it. It was the return of Maguire coming back, and we got into him and the team from the first whistle. In fact, Maguire's first touch, I think he passed it out of play, because he was put under pressure straight from it. Them taking the lead, and then Yuri's fantastic goal where he chipped it into the corner. But then that moment of the frustration of giving away that equaliser to Rashford, who made his run from deep and a great finish, to the instant high of like 20 seconds later of Vardy scoring directly from the kickoff. It had all the sort of highs and lows that you get in a game. And then Daka finishing off with a 4-2 at the back post at the end. So for me, that's why it encapsulated everything, all the emotions that you can get in a game. And that's, for me, why that was the most memorable game of the season for me.
It was, wasn't it, Lou? It was, as I say, the game that had everything.
Yeah, and that's it. When you talk about something that you're going to remember from the season, it obviously that's one of the games you're going to remember.
Yeah.
And I felt like it showed the downfall and the uprise of both teams, because you play Man United and they score 2 goals, you think they're going to win. Like in Fergie times, they would have seen it out. There's no way they would have lost to us, but they're not obviously under Fergie anymore, and their soft underbelly shows a lot more than it used to. But we also took advantage of it. Scoring 4 goals against United is something that, again, doesn't happen every day. And hopefully for them, won't happen.
I don't know, this season it could be, couldn't it?
Well, that's the thing. And obviously, that time when they beat us on the last day to get the 4th place is something that they'll have over us over this performance. But yeah, just a good game. And as you say, had everything. And 6 goals, 4 going in for your team. You've got to be happy with it.
Yeah. Thanks, Exalted, for your kind words there. Welcome along. Thank you very much for that. Brad, was this near the top for you as well?
It was definitely there. It was definitely memorable for its excitement. Let's face it, it was a very thrilling game to watch, especially if you're a neutral. You probably watched it with a lot less stress and anxiety. The Man U and less fancied the way the goals were going. And it was kind of, especially at that point, a way to typify the good and the bad of Leicester's season at that point, wasn't it? Because we were showing how good we could be and lethal we could be in front of goal when we create the chance quickly. But we also showed how frail at that point we were at the back by conceding 2 goals. I mean, it's weird to say we've had a hellstorm of a game like that. 4-2 flashes of that 5-3 win in our first season, wasn't it? The way it sort of went about happening. Probably our most exciting game of the season, but by a long way in terms of just non-stop. You got a pure game out of that, didn't you, for the full 90 minutes, which was something sometimes football fans are saying you don't normally get your money's worth for these days.
I think we did that day. Now, just to make this first category the hardest in choosing one, we'll all have to vote in a minute. But we're going to go to Brad's, and yours was the PSV away game.
Yeah, I just thought. I mean, I did speak about the game that Louise actually picked. I actually talked about that, and I said but the game that took us to that moment, because that's the game that can sometimes get forgotten about. That wasn't an easy tie. PSV fans were very, very confident after that first leg. We were very disappointed with our lack of goal mouth action that we seemed to have in the first leg.
Yeah,
definitely played at a lower tempo. You go to a ground like that with the way they create an atmosphere. We've all heard it. We've all clicked on YouTube. We've all seen it on social media somewhere what them crowds are like and how loud they make their stadium sound. So it wasn't easy. We went down to a goal early as well. And just, again, really typifying that cliche of ever slogan that we have, the fans use, Foxes never quit. We never seem to give up. It was probably one of the few games this season when we was in a bit of form that you felt like this game wasn't done just because they'd scored. We were always going to have a chances to win this game and turn it around. And we did it in good style. And once we wrestled the control in this game, I only saw one winner. And thankfully, obviously, we were the winners. But you could only see it at that point going one way. And then you realised, where we were going was like, holy hell, we're going to be in a European semi-final. We've actually got a really good chance. And it also typified it because that whole debate that was just mentioned earlier, Chris, about the whole Europa League conference met with a bit of disdain. We discussed it, didn't we, on the show? And we said, you look at quarterfinals and 90% of it was former Champions League sides.
Yeah.
That's when you also realise to take this competition very seriously because there was some very, very outstanding successes in Europe left in this competition at the grindstone. And to get past PSV and do it the way we did, it was just a game I will cherish up there of the Atletico Madrid quarterfinal and the Rome one.
Craig, thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those where we showed our resilience, didn't we? As Brad said, we had to not only fight their team but their crowd, the whole atmosphere. And you probably saw a team with this, the Rennes game away and this game, you probably saw a team start to grow into being a European team. In the past where we've gone away, we've not really dominated games, and this we took a bit of time to get going, but then in the second half we thoroughly got what we deserved and dominated a very good PSV team who had a fantastic season in their own league, and we dominated them and we got our just desserts in the end.
We did. Louise?
Yeah, very, very much so. So I went to the first leg and I felt actually we were a bit unlucky not to score more. I thought we were the better side overall on the game. And then you start to think maybe it isn't going to go for you, over the 2 legs. But yeah, again, everything that's been said, the resilience they showed, and actually they played again very well in the game. Once they got into it, they did have, I think, the first probably 20 minutes were a bit risque after that. I don't think they really, as the home side, you'd expect them to put more chances in on goal and be more dominant, and they weren't. That was Leicester. So, yeah, just played really well. And as you say, that win then obviously sent us to the Roma games. So, without it, obviously the Roma games wouldn't have happened.
Well, we've got 4 different games there. So we're all going to have to choose the winning game of the season. We're going to have a little bit of a vote. So what I want to ask you guys is if you pick the game that isn't yours, the alternative one that you would have chosen. So Craig, let's come to you first of all.
I'll probably have to go for the Liverpool one.
The Liverpool home, okay. Louise?
I probably would have had to have gone for the Liverpool one as well.
Oh, we should have all voted for a different one each, shouldn't we? And then we'd have been exactly in the same position.
Yeah. No, because I would have had the deciding say. I'd have just gone with one of you. Brad?
Yeah, I'm going to... I don't like having to pick another one, so it's already decided for me. I'll make it a full house. I'll go with the Liverpool one.
Or just out of interest, it doesn't make any difference, obviously. But if I had to go for one that wasn't my choice, which was Liverpool home, and just I I would probably have to go for the Roma one simply because of the occasion that it was a semi-final. European. I wish I'd been there. I really had. Exalted goes for the 4-2.
I do think that those 4 games were probably the best 4 we've had all season. Like, I think out of the season, they are probably the top 4 games, and any of those are probably worthy winners because they were all good games for, like you said, different reasons.
And to be honest with you, out of the season, there probably wasn't that many more, to be honest. Melina, good evening. How the devil are you? Welcome along. Hope you and your dad are both okay. You didn't catch the show earlier, and we'll say the same to TM as well. Good evening. How are you? How are you as well? 7 o'clock, Julian was on the show with me, and it was an end of season report, and he chose the markings for each of the teams. And I'm glad I didn't say what Arsenal got until after this. Melina, thank you so very, very much indeed. That is amazing. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let me just go and watch the thing there. Let me just go back and change where Arsenal were voted. Actually, you won't be disappointed. Well, yeah, I don't think you'll be disappointed anyway. But thank you so much. It is brilliant. They're also everybody saying hello to each other. So let us go on to the next category, which maybe isn't quite as controversial. Young Player of the Season. Well, I don't think we're going to have an awful lot to talk about on this one because I'll start it off. Number 22, Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. It's hard to think of him as a young player because he isn't sort of your 17, 18-year-old like Luke Thomas. You could almost say he's a veteran, but he had his season at Luton. He won virtually, well, I think he did win every award going at Luton. And can I just say, first of all, bad luck to Luton. I would have loved to have seen them get through to the semi-final and beat Forest, but let's hope Huddersfield can do it. But, I mean, he had a fantastic season. He has come back, and to be totally honest with you, I don't think that anybody else was even in the running for it. I'm not going to discuss it with each and every one because, look, Louise has gone for Kieran Juice-Hall. You're already going to be in total agreement, aren't you?
Well, he's not going to win it next year because he's 23. So
yeah,
this is his last chance to win it. So yeah, I can't say any more than already has been said about him. He's first name on the team sheet now. Like he is part of the team.
Yeah.
Very, very surprised if he doesn't play.
Exactly. I'm surprised he wasn't knackered with all the games he was playing.
Well, I'm sure he was, but again, he's young. He's only 23. He should be able to play full season and be in Europe. But like I say, just how he's put himself first on the team sheet at 23. A lot of people are saying he's going to be, a Leicester captain one day, and I totally agree with that. He seems very confident on the ball. It just looks like he's been there for a lot longer than he actually has, and I just can't really say enough about him.
I don't know what you could add to that, Craig, because you've gone 22, Kieran Juice-Hall.
Yeah, just only, I'll keep it brief, but it just shows you what the loan system is there for me.
Yeah.
That you've got somebody who's gone out and played at a decent level, championship, and starting to play against men, starting to play against seasoned professionals. And it either makes you or breaks you as a player. And I think it made Kieran Juice-Hall, and I think it was quite telling that in all pre-season interviews that he did, he said this was his season and he wanted to make it hard for the manager to not pick him. And he was determined to put pressure on those other midfield players. And he got his chance and he took it. So, fantastic.
Well, let's have a drum roll before we find out whose Brad's choice is. Well, who knew?
I know, right? Stop the press. I've gone for the same. Who knew that?
Exactly. Have you got anything left to add there, Brad?
I think the only way his competition would have been under threat this season for Young Player of the Season was if a foreigner had been fit all season.
Yeah.
I think that's the only player we could have even put in that discussion. And and that's just because he's a different gravy for Fana. I think he'll probably win that next year if he has a similar system, because you forget he's 20, so he'll be 21, so he'll be in the running for that reward next season. But he's had a fantastic season. He's taken this opportunity with both hands. You know, they say you've got to back your words up. He's definitely done that. I don't mind it if you can back your words up when you say that. He was determined in the pre-season interviews that we all saw, and hopefully many more to come. And again, I'm just backing what Craig said about the loan system. We'll remember Harvey Barnes. Look where he is now in terms of he's been recognised for his country. You know, he's pretty much a regular on the team sheet more times than not. This is great to see, and again, credit to our youth development system, because they've brought one through again, and we already have eyes on Brunt, another youngster that looks like he's going to be pushed forward and given an opportunity. So another plus side for the youth development.
Yeah, Fofana, and I was watching Sky Sports earlier. You can tell I've now got the TV working in this room, can't you? I was watching Sky Sports earlier, and they were picking their team of the season. Not one Leicester player in there, which I kind of understand, but and it was the lady that picked him and said, like, one to watch out for, and she actually did go for Fofana. So I think we all agreed that he would be the one to watch for next season. But hey, we all agreed, guys. My God, I think we should make a note on the calendar. Let me hang on. Let me just write it down on my Leicester City calendar here. So Unchu and Pereira are still in May. Who's in June? Let's just have a look before I turn it over. Madison and Mendy. Oof. Well, I think it's one of these, like, every time I turn it over, I think, well, we're going to probably still have one of those at least next season. But, most improved player. Right, well, let's have a look what we've gone for. And there's a lot of disagreement on this. I've gone for Daniel Amati. And I'll tell you the reason why. And I've told this story many times, but I will bore you again with it. Is that when I went to the Community Shield and I was walking up Wembley Way, and I just got to the steps to go up to the stadium, and you could hear them announcing the teams, and they announced the Leicester City team, and Amati's name was read out, and you could hear the physical, oh no, from all the Leicester fans that were walking round. And that's, I think, how he was viewed at the start of the season. He had possibly a man of the match performance in the Community Shield, stroke English Super Cup. But over the season, he has developed, and he was probably got to the point where he is our most consistent defender. Now, you could say, well, nobody else has really played enough games to be consistent, and I would take it on there. But it was almost, when you looked and Amati was sort of dropped, it was almost like, oh no, really? So for the fact that it's almost like 100%, 180-degree change, I've gone for Daniel Amati as my man of the match. As my most improved player. Louise, your thoughts on Daniel Amati?
I think he's a really good pick, actually. And I totally understand why that side was there at the beginning of the season, Charity Shield, because he'd made a lot of mistakes and was culpable for a lot of goals. And he has changed it round. You know, he has been a vast improvement this season. That needs to push on if he's going to be a regular next season, when obviously we've got everybody back. That will need to go again, because I still think he's not strong enough for that first team when everyone's fit. But you cannot deny that he's come in, he's done a really good job and been a better player. So, yeah, I think that's a really good pick. Craig,
is it a case of he's a better player because he's had more game time?
Probably. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on Daniel, but it's a funny one. I think we saw that there was a player there a couple of seasons ago, but then he had a run of bad injuries that sort of stopped his development, and then he was put in and out of the side. So you didn't really get to see what he could do. We knew that he'd gone away and was player of the tournament at the AFCON before he got his injury. yet we were using him and plugging him in gaps, and he was more often than not being used as a right back. And his distribution of the ball was the thing that let him down. And I think he's simplified that part of his game. He's taken on the sort of coaching that he's been given, and he's concentrated on what he's good at. So there has been some improvement there from him, and he's done great for us this season.
Yeah, Brad, without sort of giving too much away, your thoughts on Daniel Amate?
I think he's definitely improved on what it was. Kind of touching on the back of what Craig just said there about him being plugged in gaps when he got back into back from his injury. He was kind of being joked about at the time that he was a jack of all trades and good at none of them, weren't he? Because he was literally plugging gaps. It wasn't natural for him, like Craig said. And I think he was, I understand why the reaction to Amate. I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't give it. I didn't give a when I heard it or saw the team sheet for that. And then I thought, well, maybe he's just giving him it's the English Super Cup, so maybe he's giving him a run out. Who knows? We'll see. And he surprised me. I think we both jested that it was the first time we'd probably even thought about him as man of the match, and he's got a few votes this season, hasn't he? For it, probably won it a few times.
At the end of the season, Brad, I think his contract. Well, it is the end of the season. I think his contract is up. Does he get another one?
He deserves one. He's definitely warranted one. I mean, when the defence was losing its proverbial at the back, he was probably the only one that wasn't at times, wasn't he? So yeah, he's a very good put forward candidate for it. Yeah,
Lou, on to your choice, and you've gone for, well, we all know Kieran Juice Hall there. Talk us through that one.
Yeah, again, I think obviously has already been said about him. We've pretty much said everything we can, but the improvement at such a young age is what's so key to me. He sounds like he really wants to learn. He still wants to improve. He can, he's always talking about the next thing, which is what you want from a player. And on the pitch, he's improved enough to be, like I say, that first name on that team sheet. And I don't distrust him with the ball. When it goes to him, you're not worried that it's going to get lost. You're not worried that it's not going to make go to the player he wants it to go to. And just an overall gone away and improved.
Yes.
He, like you say, he took that step down, went and improved, and did what he needed to do to come back a better player. And that takes character, to come back to somewhere where you weren't wanted as such and improve. And I feel like he's improved through every game he's played throughout the season. I think he's got better, and I think he'll keep getting better because he wants to get better. And I won't
come around you all because we have spoken a lot about him in the last category. So I think we've said all what we can say about Kieran, unless we go around and wipe his bottom for him.
The young players at Leicester are under a manager that is going to help them improve.
Yes,
I think it's going to improve young players. It's what he's known for. So any young player at Leicester, I think, is going to get a chance and is going to improve just because of the coaching they're going to get.
Agreed, and I think we might see, I don't think we've got as much money as, I don't think we'll be spending £40 million on a player again, but we might see some of the youngsters coming through, which would mean we don't need to spend as much as we have in the past. Craig, I can see where you've gone with this one, totally 100%. I have a feeling he's going to leave. I think he wants to leave. I think he's been treated badly, but there is he's kept his thoughts to himself. He never complained. He wasn't even in a squad up until Christmas, which, to me, he was our most expensive player at 50 million at one point. And now he was like, well, we've got to use somebody, let's lose Mendy. And there's a lot of talk about whether it should be him or Chowdhury, but we've not seen Chowdhury, as I say, since Christmas. He seems to have disappeared up the up the chimney with Father Christmas. But Mendy, I think you've got a good shout for him there.
Well, I can say I think we all thought his career was over when he was left out of the Premier League and the Europa League squads. But I think he grew in confidence from being part of that Senegal team that won the African Nations. and then followed that up by helping them to qualify for the World Cup as well. I think we all knew that Mendy was a decent player. He was very often used in previous seasons to come on and see out games. So he would get 10, 15 minutes at the end of a game, which was the right thing to do. Brendan, obviously, this season decided the best way to see out games was to throw on a defender, which clearly hasn't worked. But Mendy was always a safe pair of hands. But this time, with the injury to Ndidi, it was going to be between Mendy and Chowdhury. Mendy got his chance, and he showed that he was a safe pair of hands to play a full 90 minutes, and much improved on the ball, neat and tidy. Doesn't get forward a lot, but then he was doing the job that was asked of him, and I think he's shown that you can put him in for a full 90 minutes, and he will do a great job for you, and so that's why he got my vote. No, agreed.
Lou, thoughts on Mendy?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say much more than what Craig has already said. Again, he was very like a Marty in respects, where it was kind of like a joke almost that he was even getting on the team sheet. And he's changed that around. I totally agree that going away and winning international tournament has got to do something for your confidence, but he's also been given more chances. With the the lack of players we've had there in those positions, he's been given a chance. And as much as he's obviously going to want to go and play, I still don't think he's going to get in regularly in that defence. So if he wants regular football, then yes, he's going to have to leave. But yeah, the improvement, and again, like you say, safe pair of hands is exactly what he is. And yeah, again, improved by vastly amounts. And we're lucky that we've had players like him and Amati who have been able to step up and get so much better. Because
indeed.
Wise.
Brad?
Yeah, I mean, again, kind of remember the start of his career until he got that injury. I think it was against Arsenal, wasn't it? Was that in the 5? Well, didn't he get injured early on against Arsenal, like the title winning season? Was that when we brought him, or was that the season after?
I'm not going to argue because I have no idea.
I know he got injured early into his Leicester career, and he kind of set him back. But before the start of this season, we probably all sat here talking about potentially, if we was going to lose a defender, it was going to be a Marty, wasn't it? We weren't thinking maybe, he was on there, and then he got a new.
It was Arsenal, by the way, Brad. It was Arsenal. Yeah,
it was Arsenal.
Yeah.
And then Mendy was gone, wasn't he? He was officially gone at one point. He was out the door, and that's all we were expecting to hear, that Mendy was released, and then he signed a new 2-year deal. So maybe Amati got a new lease of life due to, unfortunately, because of Fofana being injured. But you have to take these opportunities whatever way. It's never nice if it happens to you that way. But when you get given an opportunity in the sport, you've got to take it. And like Amati, he's done really, really well. And who knows, maybe he must have signed a 2-year deal for a reason. Maybe Brendan said, look, you're going to get more opportunities this season. He probably, if you maybe think about it, maybe using Yuri wasn't babysitting. Maybe it was, I need to have him there because essentially I would be playing Ndidi and Mendy in that role. You don't know what he was thinking.
No.
He could still have a career here at Leicester. I don't actually think it's too far over if that is the plan. But if it's not, he'll move on.
It depends on. I mean, I think Tory, Yuri leaving. Well, there's going to be a lot of questions about who, what, when, and where there. But we will see. I didn't know. I mean, am I going daft here, guys, or is it the fact that it is Wikipedia that I'm reading here? But on the 30th of July, 2017, Mendy went back to Nice on loan. I don't
probably did.
Does anybody confirm that?
I think
we're all kind of like, you don't remember that?
It wasn't at around the time that he started to come back from his injury that he originally had. Because if that's the case, he might have gone out on like a short loan to get some fitness.
He made his return after injury in the 5-0 defeat to Porto. And he only made 4 league appearances after that, and then they say he went to Nice. But I didn't know that. But anyway, the man that is going to get the deciding vote, because he has gone for one of Amati, KDH, and Mendy, and we will find out what who Brad has gone for straight after the break. Oh, I love doing that. Everybody on 10 to Brad, you went for, same as me, Daniel Amati as the most improved player.
Yeah, I think, again, like I said earlier, he was joked about as being the jack of all trades when he was plugging holes all over the place for Leicester's defence. But he's been ever reliable. Whenever he's been called upon, he's not argued with it. He's probably benefited from, willing to play in positions that doesn't suit him. Some players try and not want to play in a position they're not too comfortable in. He was happy to fill the gap, and it's benefited in a way. And now he's got a good run in the team. We've probably seen what Daniel Amati offers to Leicester, because when we was going through 3 at the back, 2 at the back, 3 at the back, Vestergaard at the back, they were good times. Good times when we picked Vestergaard to play at the back. But Amati was the calm head. In fact, Amati probably had a better season than Soyuncu, we were saying, when it was them pairing together. And that speaks volumes, because Soyuncu had a bad start to the season, he had a very good return as well. Let's not forget that. But Daniel Amati really stood out. When you look at the figures and injuries of the players that we had out in the fill-up position, like Evans, and again, Soyuncu and Fofana, to see a bloke who was probably on his way out, like Mendy was last season, we all thought, potentially, to have the season he's had is very reassuring to see from both the player and as fans, because it shows how good the squad quality is, and that's something that Brendan's been trying to express all season. So it's good that in a way that we've been able to see it.
We'd have to go round again with the Martin, because we already did it, but with 2 votes, our most improved player of the season is Mr. Daniel Amati. Well, what are we going on to now? It is Unsung Player of the Season. Right. We have got a split decision on this one as well. I know this. I'm building the tension up enough here. But who is it going to be? I should say hello to LDH. Thanks for joining us, by the way. Right. Well, let's have a look. Unsung Hero. Who did I go for? I went for Kelechi. I think he's taken a lot of stick this season, but when he's come on, he's done a job for us. And to me, I think last season proved that if you give him the time and the game time, he will do what he's paid to do. He was our top scorer last season, and he was dropped back to, we're playing one up front with Vardy, and then Daka came in, obviously. But when he comes on, I just think it's the way he offers us something different. With Vardy, we know we've got to hit the ball long for him. And he's got to he'll outrun the defence and get it. But Kelechi has that role. For a big guy, he is really good on the ball, I think. And he can hold that ball up and let people come into the attack, which we haven't always done this season. We've always sort of never been up there with the run of play. So for me, I've gone for Kelechi. Thoughts on that, Craig?
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I think if it was underused player of the season, he would definitely get it.
Yeah,
he's got to consider himself disappointed on how this season's panned out after last year. But that's purely down to Brendan changing formation. I think he struggles when he's up there as a 1.
Oh, definitely.
And he has good days when he's holding the ball up, and then other days where everything seems to bounce off him. But what you don't hear from Kelechi is any complaining. He always seems happy and grateful to be a professional footballer, and seems to love being at the club. So
yes.
So I can understand why you've gone there.
Louise, do you think he will go in the summer?
Again, I don't, because I don't think. I expect Leicester to do better next season, and I don't think the teams that are going to finish above us are going to want him, if I'm completely honest about it. So I think he would be taking a step down if he was to leave and stay in the Premier League. And I think the clubs abroad probably aren't looking at him either, because again, he's not getting the game time to show what he can do.
No.
And that's the biggest problem that he's going to have. Having said that, Vardy isn't going to last forever. And then he has got, obviously, Daka, but to me, I think he's better than Daka at this precise moment in time.
Yeah.
So, for me, if he stays, he is going to be the striker after Vardy, but it's whether he's willing to wait that long.
Yeah.
Who knows how many years Vardy's got left. So I don't see him going in the summer. I don't think Brendan's going to want him to go in the summer. But when you're clearing out a squad like Brendan says he's going to do, who knows?
Exactly. Brad, would you see him going? I mean, he's waited this long. You know, he's had a lot. I mean, you forget how many years he's actually been with us.
Yeah, he's been here a while. And, you know, I could perfectly understand if he ends the season feeling a bit frustrated, because the change of formation has felt like probably a step back for him. Because when we were playing two up front, he was playing week in, week out, and that was helping him. Naturally, with any player, you'd assume it's going to just help them naturally if they're more accustomed to what has helped beneficial towards them. But the problem with being, having a player like Jamie Vardy behind you in front of you is, and as a teammate, is you're going to struggle to take that position. You're really going to struggle. And why Vardy is scoring, if you're a 35-year-old and you're still able to turn in 15 goals in 25, 26 games, you're not going to get that game time that you're hoping for, I'm afraid, if you're playing a one. And maybe if a system change comes in, he's definitely first on that list next to him as a strike partner. I think him and Vardy have shown that already. He'd go there to it more naturally. And I think he's done well to keep the mental head together and still stay positive every time he does get a chance and play well. And I have to admit, I kind of agree with you. I think we'll be maybe next season seeing more of him, I feel, because even though Vardy's had an incredible season, if he's willing to stay around and do it, like Louise, he's not going to be here forever, whether we like him to or not. And Leicester and Brandon doesn't want to become too dependent on it. He wants to be able to be more than ready for that, not just happen to, chuck it in deep end and hope for the best. That's what he's hoping to do with Daka as well.
Indeed. Well, Louise, I had to tie you down with this one, didn't I? Because you come back to me when the defence. I did say, well, come on, give me a name, and you've gone for Soyuncu.
Yeah, it was a hard choice, and the reason I wanted to go for the defence isn't because they've been particularly great this season, but because I think they've been good under the pressure of constant change. If you look at teams and you look at successful teams, the one thing they have, the two things they have is a good goalkeeper, which we have, and a settled back line, which we haven't had. Yeah. So I think it's really hard to judge any of the defenders this season on what they can be. So when you did ask, I did go for Cags, because I think when you talk about underrated this season, I think you have to choose him. He's played games where he's played really well. And again, at the beginning of the season, really shaky. I did wonder what was going to happen. But Brendan had to keep him in because he didn't have the players to change it. Now, whether he would have done if he had done, probably I would think, because you can't keep making mistakes like that and being left in the squad, in the team. But he changed it for himself, and that takes mental strength to actually be playing badly and turn it around for yourself within the season. And I think he's played well the back half. And obviously, as we've got players back, we've got defenders back, he should be playing even better.
Yeah. Craig, thoughts on Mr. Soyuncu? He had a bad start, didn't he, with bad Euros, I should say. And it's hard in hindsight. In hindsight's a wonderful thing. Obviously, you shouldn't have hindsight. You should just not pour beans in your eyes. Yeah, okay. I think that one doesn't get a tumbleweed one. But, I mean, the defence have had the problems, but you can kind of understand it because it's you know, I think only towards the last few months we were able to name the same partners.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked earlier, we touched on about Mendy coming back from the African Cup of Nations full of confidence. I think you could say the opposite with Kaglar coming back from the Euros last season, where Turkey had a nightmare, to be honest. I think they lost all 3 games. They were really poor. He didn't come out of it with any glory, and I think it affected his confidence. That allied to the fact that that back line wasn't settled at all. Fofana's injury in the last pre-season game probably disrupted things. You know, we don't know what the structure was on the training ground. He was probably asked to play more than he expected to. I don't know, but I think I wouldn't necessarily say he was unsung, but I would say he was over criticised. I think that's fair to say. He's had some bad performances, but I don't ever think that you can question his attitude. So I mean, I like him as a player, to be honest, and I think in a more settled side, we would see him get back to the levels that we know he can play at. And I think he may be one who's sacrificed, but I wouldn't be unhappy if he stayed.
Exactly. Brad, I mean, Real Madrid, really?
I don't know where that came from, but that's not happening because they were that rumour was apparently on probably something desperate in the terms of they weren't sure if they're going to get Rudiger. We've all seen these signings. You know, Mbappe was all for Real Madrid. Now he's staying there. Maybe they were hoping Chelsea's ownership would get taken care of and they could sort something. He agreed to join Real Madrid. So I haven't heard anything of it since that was announced. So I don't know if he'll actually stay or not. He's definitely recovered well. I agree with both of you on that. You know, I think, you know, about playing in the Euros. I think Brendan tried to do the best thing for him because it's a very hard decision to manage. Do you take a player who's just had, you know, who's having such a torrid spell and obviously really low mentally? Do you just help him, you know, just push through it and keep playing him and hope to power through that brick wall that he's kind of hit? Or do you take him out of the limelight and not start him? Maybe Brendan wasn't afforded to do the latter, you know, the second option there.
Yeah.
Because of Fofana's injury. And to be fair to him, he did come more slack than he deserved because he's been a very, very good servant. And I think this is something that also slips their mind. He's still young. For a defender as well, he's still quite young, isn't he? He's in his early 20s. He's, you know, we keep forgetting if it isn't for the likes of Evans, Casper and Vardy, the squads aren't be much older than 25 in its average. So he's had a year of experience, you know, mentally, something that, you know, a bit of tough love maybe was needed at some points during the season. And he's ended the season well. He kind of dropped out of the team in the last 4 or 5 games. So I don't think he's been doing enough to, like Chris said, be called an unsung hero. But I do see exactly what Louise was saying about him because you can't blame the defence for a lot of things. That's tactical. You know, someone else up in the training preparation is telling Ricardo to mark a 6-foot defender when he's only 5 foot himself. So, you know, these corner goals, it doesn't entirely rely on the defence, you know, because they're tall. That's who you're marking. You're marking a number and not a logical height person. So,
yeah.
I think one thing to take into consideration as well is that he's probably the only naturally left-footed centre half we have. And back fours are all about partnerships. He had virtually a different left back alongside him every game, which doesn't help him either. You know, he's had to work with Luke Thomas, who went through, who's had some good games, but had some poor games as well. So I think that the lack of a consistent left back partner held him a little bit exposed as well.
No, good point. And let's stick with you, Craig. And this is your unsung player.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Daniel. We've talked about him quite a bit already. But for me, he was another one like Mendy. And you know, I don't think anybody would have been surprised if he if his career was over with us. But injuries gave him an opportunity. He was often played at right back, and we knew that wasn't his position really. But when he's asked to come in and just be a centre half, he's done really well for us. And I think it showed the most when Johnny Evans was out. And you don't see a lot of it on the pitch, on TV, but going down to the games, you can see that he was talking and organising a hell of a lot more than I ever expected of him. And I think he'd come back from his international trips and was feeling more confident as well. And he felt more confident in that position and was the most probably experienced player out of that back four. And I think, yes, he had the odd dodgy game here and there. He had the odd dodgy pass or whatever. But again, I think whenever he was brought in, he sort of held that back line together. And there's some really strong away games that he was fantastic in as well. So all in all, I think he's been really solid. And we talk about everybody else having up and down seasons, from whatever centre-back pairing he's been put into, he's held his own. And I think he's very unfortunate that he's always the first one who's moved out of the team when everyone else is fit as well.
I know, unfairly.
Yeah, so I think from that point of view, I think I'd have to give him my vote.
Well, we're down to Brad having the deciding vote again because he has gone with one of our choices. And Brad, I'm trying to remember what show this was off, but the power is in your hands. What show was that?
It's probably one of yours, Chris.
Sorry?
It's probably one of your shows.
No, or let the that dated show. Oh, with the guy that does Top Gear now.
Take Me Out, is it?
Take Me Out.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So, power is in your hands, Brad. And in reply to your question, Craig, I'd rather not. Thank you very much. Brad, you've gone for Daniel Amati.
Yeah, this was a weird one considering the subject before that we've just talked about. It was a bit of a toss-up between Amati and Mendy, but when I really thought about it, I didn't really think Mendy as a player, as an individual, it improved. But I think in the midst of the chaos of our defence, when we had that time where we couldn't decide who was going to play well, we were hoping people that were 60% fit had enough to get through 90 minutes. Let's be honest. We could see it in the players. We were talking about it game in, game out. The players were probably playing absolutely knackered. We were screaming and shouting for rotation, but then we thought about it. We realised he had no one to rotate into unless he was going to play someone from the under-12s at one point. Our defence was that bad. And like I said, when you were looking for a calming voice, someone who tried to command when it was all over the shop, Daniel Amati really stood out for me. I think he didn't get enough recognition. We were quick to instantly go back to going how amazing Fofana is, and that's great for Fofana. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve praise, but this is the first season where we really maybe saw them efforts and his brilliant job at the back rewarded because, it was him getting picked for these last couple of appearances over Sue. So it shows that he's done a job in Brendan's eyes as well because it's shown that he's benefited from it. And I'm really glad to see it, Who would have thought that? The English Super Cup, we were rolling around and we're now sat here talking about him having a fantastic season and thank him for not walking out the door. I think he deserves it.
That's the second award that Daniel Amati has walked off with tonight.
I'll tell you what, Daniel Amati, best subscribe and get on there. He's winning awards after us.
Daniel, get on here. Tell us how happy you are to receive these awards.
More than that, winning the blooming AFCON at this rate.
Well, it's the biggie coming up next. We've got two to go, but we're going to go with the biggie next. And it's not my stomach, but why isn't this working? Hang on a second. I'll tell you why it's not working, because I'm not pressing the right button. Player of the season. Now then, we don't agree on this one, but I will leave it at that. It was probably one of the hardest ones because, in fairness, we haven't had a good season, and a lot of players have underperformed for different reasons. Casper has been steady in the back, but yeah, he's struggled with the defense. I mean, I'll tell you, I've gone for James Maddison. To me, he is he's withstood everything that's happened this season. He was on, in the England squad at the start of the season. He was, a fantastic player. He could pinpoint his free kicks into the top right-hand corner. Then he got an injury. And I think Brendan did the right thing, is that he eased him back in, but he just didn't, it took him a while to get that form back. And I think when you look at somebody like Fofana, and I think Fofana's just Superman. He's out for 7/8 of the season. You bring him back in, he scores a goal on his return, and it's amazing. But obviously, not everybody can do that. And I think it took James Maddison a little bit of time to get his form back. And of course, he was being played sort of on the wing for a couple of games as well, which is not his best position. But my God, is he back? I mean, recently he was scoring goals, he's setting them up. There was rumours earlier in the season that he might be sacrificed to raise some money. I really, really, really hope not, because if Tielemans is going, we've really got to hold on to James Maddison. And
it will only be one of them. It'll either be Maddison or it won't be both.
Can't be both. We know that would just decimate the team. So for me, just the way he's come back, I could say, and he scored a couple and he scored one and I don't think he scored one or two, and then he assisted in 2 or 3. But for me, that is why. Louise, we'll go straight on to yours because you've gone for James Maddison.
Yeah, 18 goals, 15 assists this season in an injury season in a team that has not been settled or performing very well. Yeah. Says everything to me. And it's more than that. When he gets the ball, the Leicester fans are off their seats before, he's even done anything. And he's the one player, plus probably Yuri on a better season, that is exciting. He's good to watch.
Yeah.
And if he's not even in consideration for the World Cup squad in the winter, I'll be really surprised. You can debate whether we want him to go or not because of possible injuries and stuff. But to me, you've got to put him in the top 5 players that we have at the club easily.
Oh, yeah.
And just like I say, it's exciting to watch. And those stats, nearly 20 goals from an injury hit season. That's just insane. And then the assists, 15. It's just crazy when you think about what the season's actually been like for Leicester. Players that we've had out all over the pitch. And the goals might have been less. Had Vardy played, the goals probably would have been less, but the assists would have been more. So, he's just had a really good season, and I can't put anyone above how well he played.
Well, obviously, I totally agree with you, obviously. But as indeed does Craig. Anything to add, Craig?
Well, only, for me, I think what happened with Madders, I think the big change with him was becoming a dad. I think he almost grew up, at that point, because we'd seen before that he'd got himself in a lot of trouble. He was a young man with a lot of money and a lot of time on his hands, and he didn't really spend it particularly well. And he could have lost it at that point. But that sort of settling down, becoming a dad, missing out on England squads when really he should have been in them. I think he's been fantastic this season. And 2 things I'll add to things that you've not said. I think he could easily have won the award for most improved player. And I'll tell you why. It's because we all knew what a great player he was on the bench. On the ball. But as Lou said there, he's added goals to his game. He's looked to get forward a lot more. He wants to try and break and get into the box. And you've seen the improvement on him throughout the season that he's learned how to be influential, even though he's played out on the right-hand side. It took him a while, I think, and it's not his best position by any means. He should be in the middle of the pitch. But in the last half a dozen games, I think you've seen him come to terms with it and make sure that he's more influential. And I would go so far to say that I think, and I'm going to include every team in the Premier League, I think Maddison would get into every team in the Premier League.
Ooh, bold statement. Jack Grealish might have something to say about it, but it's a very good point. I mean, on performance, you've got to say over Jack Grealish, he should go, but you know, we know how England managers think. Brad, I feel a bit like after the Lord Mayor show this, but you didn't go for Maddison. It's not going to make any difference, but you went. Very good choice still, though. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall.
Yeah, I think he was phenomenal. He's he's at that start of his prime, you'd say, with the position he's playing. He's gone through the process very well at Leicester. He's probably that perfect balance of a journey, isn't it? Because you're probably talking, this was the year for him. He played like a guy, like a footballer who's very hungry, almost like Jamie Vardy, like in the way he runs around for that ball, an absolute machine. You think he's going to be knackered come the 90 minutes, but he's not. And he's handled playing Thursday, Sunday like it's like a duck to water. He's taken to like a duck to water. And again, he has that hunger. It's an extra kind of talent or ability you can have as a footballer. It might sound weird, but sometimes, you know, even if you're not the most naturally gifted in terms of doing the fancy tricks and flicks, the ability just to never give up a lost cause and win a ball. How many times a season did we stand there or watch it, sat at home and go on, and then the attack breaks down and get the ball away, and before we can finish going, oh, for God's sake, Dewsbury was almost as if he's gone, never, don't worry, I've got it, and he already gets it and really makes a crunching tackle and he times it right, and we're cheering it on, and he's turned defence into attack. And it's something we missed at times during the season, and you know, it's something that when that team went on the press, he knew it. He was very impressive for the season. Obviously, James Maddison wins it here, and he got it deservedly, but I think it was a very strong case for.
No, yeah, very strong case and put well, but with 3 points, Maddison gets it. And we've got the final thing here, which was Craig's edition, which was a very good edition, which was moment of the season, and we will do that straight
it's
after
time
this.
For the Daily Leicester.
Leicester City FC on this day in history with LEICESTER
I did this the other way a couple of weeks ago, and I was actually told off because the one that I read out wasn't very, very exciting. And I said, well, it was a choice of two. So everybody said, well, read out the other one, read it. And that was even less exciting. And then I realised why I'd gone for the one I did. But the 23rd of May is actually two managers left us on this date. On the 23rd of May, 1977, Jimmy Bloomfield resigned as Leicester City manager. We talk about Watford, but the Foxes finished 11th in Division 1, despite winning only one of their last 10 games. This represented a failure to a club who had visions of European qualification, at least going into the season. My God, you could just change dates on these things. You just couldn't hear it. Be careful what you, as I always say, be careful what you wish for, because we had, of course, the late, great, well, not late, but he was very late coming, picking his teams, Frank McClintock. Yeah, and things were. But talking of Frank McClintock, I'll give you the other one, just in case you don't think that one's exciting enough. But on the 23rd of May, 2008, Ian Holloway was sacked as Leicester City manager.
Now, that one I remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember
I remember the Jimmy Bloomfield one. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Foxes, where were we going? He had failed to prevent the club being relegated into the third tier of English football for the first time in its history. Well, tomorrow's a good day, but we're not on tomorrow, so I can't read that one out. So, Jimmy Bloomfield and Ian Holloway. One, it was sad to see go. The other one, in fairness, looking back, I mean, he took Blackpool up to the Premier League. So I don't think he was a bad manager. I just think that was a team that whoever had taken over was just going in one direction, you know.
I just think it was the way the club was going at the time, and
yeah,
you can argue maybe he shouldn't have took the job, really, knowing that probably was going to be the case, but he did, hoping obviously to keep us up, and just couldn't do it.
He actually, for once, he was actually one manager that actually wanted the job, which made a change for Leicester. But yeah, like you say, the writing was on the wall. Unfortunately for him. But moment of the season, well, let us have a look what we have all gone for here. And we have, this is going to be another voting one, guys. We've all gone for something different. Just end on excitement, you know. Champions League final, yeah, it's got nothing on this. I have gone for, and we've all gone for them for different reasons, but I have gone for Inacho's penalty against Manchester City in the English Super Cup. And the reason I've gone for that is, and I know it's a long, long time ago now, it was right at the start of the season, but I was at Wembley, I was with my son, and I watched Leicester City lift a trophy. I hadn't done that before, not with my son, and it was just one of those moments when you're thinking like, yeah, I was there, and I've shared moments with my son. We'd watched the FA Cup together, but not at Wembley. We were there. It was Man City. Last time I'd been to Wembley, I was to watch this in a Community Shield. I was on my own. It was the Man United one when we actually probably played better and lost. But for me, he earned it. And he took the goal. And, of course, with the finish he'd had last season, I thought, here we go. We're just carrying on. Little did we know that we wouldn't really be seeing much of him. That, for me, is my moment of the season. Lou, your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, obviously, I was also at that game with my boyfriend and his nephew.
He didn't wave to me.
I went berserk is not the word. And like you say, being at Wembley, picking up a trophy, like that doesn't happen, obviously, very much to us. But
no,
just I think we played well in the game. I do agree that the Man United one was, I think we played better in, and obviously didn't win. But it just, like you said, there was optimism, such optimism for this season off the back of that game. I mean, obviously, Fofana got injured, was a downer, but we still thought, you know what, it's still going to be a good season. You know, obviously not personally for him, but for the club, it was still going to be okay. And then injury. And even to be honest, it's not been a bad season even now, but we expected it to be better than it turned out to be.
Yeah. We have had worse seasons, as only fools and horses say. Craig, your thoughts on that moment?
Yeah, I was there too, and remember it well. I think it was Daka that got fouled for the penalty.
Oh, was it Daka?
Yeah, it was Daka.
I thought it was Inacho.
No, I think it was Daka. Someone will correct me, and I know damn well that you're going to try and correct me as I speak.
I am googling it as we speak. Do carry on.
But yeah, I tell you what, I wish I was as confident as you were when he stood up to take that penalty, because I went to the away friendly against Burton, and that ended up in a penalty shootout, and I don't think his penalty stayed in the ground. So you can understand that I was a little nervous when he stood up to take that penalty, but it was a great penalty, high in the corner. So yeah, a great moment to see us lift another trophy.
It's funny because I was quite confident he was going to score. Actually,
were you at Burton, Lou?
No, that's probably
there
why.
You go. That is why.
But I was actually really quite confident he was going to score, and I even said it to my boyfriend, because my boyfriend was very much like, "This is going to miss it. He's going to miss it," and I was like, "No, it's fine. Like, he'll score it." And usually it's the other way around. I'm the pessimist and he's the optimist. But yeah, I was actually quite confident he was going to score it, and of course he did.
I can't find it at the moment, but I for me, I was just sure that he'd earned the penalty.
Yeah.
And picked the ball up and went for the penalty. I will carry on looking while Brad gives his thoughts on this one.
It was kind of nice, isn't it, to win silverware? There's a lot of clubs that may never get the chance to even compete for the trophy. It's a nice little sentiment. I don't mind these. These are the end of the season tournaments that I don't mind seeing. A little recognition for winning one of the most prestigious thing you can win in terms of cup length competition for how long it's been around. The English, the FA Cup. It's something that we have failed. Is one of them to get a chance to play in the Community Shield to be rewarded for that against your league champions. It's nice. It's nice to have it. I celebrated it as much as a normal win. I think it was a very good moment. I didn't kind of have FA Cup vibes of it, but it's nice to, warrant the right to challenge for it in a way. It's a nice mini competition. I understand as well why you call it the English Super Cup, because other countries do the same for their thing. It's very right in a true statement. And it was a nice start to the season. It also means as well that, we did manage to beat both Manchester clubs this season, just in different formats. So, tongue in cheek, we have beat the champions this season. So,
that's very true. I don't know if this will be able to be picked up or not, and I have to be very, very careful. I might get a strike for this, but is he gonna?
Took his time, but the challenge by Ake has been penalised.
Now, Craig, I'm going to have to give you this in a way. We're going to have to share this moment because I don't know if you heard the commentary there that it said Daka was pulled back, but when you actually look at it, and I thought it was right, it was Inacho.
Yeah, all we can do here, Chris, in this circumstance is go with the commentary. So
no, we go to VAR. We go to VAR when there was a disagreement.
That me and Brad VAR in this situation.
Yeah,
yeah. No, I'm like the commentator made an obvious mistake there. He went for Daka. It was Inacho, which I thought it was. He picked the ball up and went and scored. Like I say, I'll probably get a strike now. I'll have to edit that out later. But yes, so that's from. But like I say, for me, and I get the guy that you've not gone for that. But for me, I hadn't been sort of. Well, it's the only trophy that I've seen lifted with my son. I've had Champions League nights and things like that. But this was sort of doing this. What was special. Louise, again, I totally understand why you've gone for this one. The team's coming out at the KP against Roma.
Yeah, like I say, I wasn't at that game, but I was watching on a perfectly legal stream. And just again, it's the spectacle, isn't it, of being in that moment. And that whole night was so nervous. I don't think there was a moment of that game since it started till it finished where my stomach wasn't in complete and utter knots.
Yeah,
I've never felt it before, and we've been in the Champions League, and I felt more nervous on that night because I realistically thought we had a real good chance of winning that tie, and actually we weren't that far off winning that tie in the end. But just again being able to be semi-finalists in a European tournament, and it's the littlest one, but that will speak forever in Leicester history that night that we stepped out in a European semi-final at our home stadium with all our fans there, complete sellout, both sets of fans making real lots of noise, and just a moment that won't be forgetting in Leicester's history.
Craig, your thought on that night?
Yeah, I'm going to say I was there. I was a little disappointed in our tifo, as you can see in that picture that you got there. It was a bit strange that one. The Union FS went for that one, but yeah, as you touched on there, Lou, it'll go down in history. European semi-final at home. Fantastic atmosphere. Roma fans making a load of noise as well. And, these are the nights that you do remember. You're quite right. And hopefully we can get back to those European nights pretty soon.
Yes, yeah. Brad is actually struggling with his phone. Can you still hear us, Brad?
Yeah, I can still hear.
You can still hear, right? Okay, so just no, stay off camera if that's easier for you. I like that one, Craig. Just to be honest with you, that was one of my favourite ever shirts.
Yeah.
And I wasn't there when the verse came out. Before you say anything, but I just got to say before we move on, we have actually got an answer back. No, I tell you what, we won't do that just yet. Your thoughts on that one, Brad?
I mean, it's always a different gravy, isn't it? When it's been a European night at the stadium, it's always a different kettle of fish. The atmosphere's different. It's like there's something different in the bloody water. People making the brews in the morning or what they're drinking on the way to the ground when you go to a European game, because it's just surreal. And that was like no other. You know, for whatever reason, when Leicester played Man City, we probably go there thinking, it's free, I want to enjoy the day. And, considering this was Roma, we went there feeling void of confidence that we were probably struggle to have found a Leicester fan that wasn't confident that we could get a result against Roma. And in the end, we did, a very much deserved point. And the team's coming out to that. It's always a nice experience, and I always do love it. So, yeah, it was a good moment to have that movement.
Before we move on to yours, Craig, I said it was Inacho. You said you've got to go with the commentator. I have got a reply from VAR now. Anthony has just sent me this. Inacho depressed Ake before being fouled in the area. But then the referee initially waved play on to allow Pats and Daka to shoot from 6 yards. So VAR vindicated. But Daka was involved. That's fine. And I know it comes to a certain age when, your memory gets a little bit sort of, I'll move on. Craig, your moment of the season, in my game of the season, the Lookman goal versus Liverpool, which we won 1-0.
Yeah, this was a tricky one for me because I hopefully I'm not going to tread on Brad's toes at all here. Because there was a few that came to mind, and including a weird one, but the home game against Watford, because it was the first time that we got to say goodbye to Ranieri. When he came back, so that the whole crowd could show the appreciation. That was a fantastic moment for me. There was the Ricardo goal that I know Brad's already talked about, and it was his game of the season, that winner for PSV. The Vardy goal against Manchester United that we've already talked about. And another weird one, Iheanacho's goal, but not the Community Shield Super Cup one. The third one, when we got back to 4-3, that goal that gave us the hope against Man City after being battered for 20 minutes and going down 4-0, and Iheanacho getting the third goal to make us think that we were on the verge of something amazing. But I have to go back to the one that was the first one that springs to mind to me, and that tells me it's a memory that stuck with me all season. And that moment when Lookman received that ball back into him and just went for the 1-2, ran past Trent Alexander-Arnold as if he wasn't there, sort of made Virgil van Dijk look stupid, as if he didn't know what to do, and just smashed it into the corner. And the noise from the crowd at that moment was just phenomenal. As I said, we dug in, we played really well in that game. Everybody was giving everything. And for that moment to finally get our noses ahead against Liverpool, that was the moment that stayed with me all season.
And I think probably, Louise, the fact that they'd done us over a few weeks, well, I think it was a week earlier in the Carabao Cup with the penalties was made it more sweeter.
Yeah, and I mean, if we had not, then Man City might not have won the league. So maybe they should be thankful that we actually beat Liverpool in this game. But
True. Very
Yeah,
true.
again, you look at a bad season. We've beat Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man City in the Charity Shield, and that's a bad season. Like
Yes.
finishing eighth, getting to it. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You've got to put some sort of hope on the fact that when we've got the fully fit squad, we're going to be back where we feel we belong, where we want to be. And this goal was, it was just a superb goal. And like you say, the way he went past one of arguably the best wing backs in the league, if not the best, was just, superb.
Yeah. Brad, he's got to be signed, hasn't he?
Please, I hope so, because I don't like this talk of the fact that there's potential that Leicester will have to kind of circle back round to this. I'm seeing clubs making signings left, right, and centre. I know they're pre-contract signings, but please, can we not kind of get something? Can we not make sure this is the first thing done on that opening day? Can we not have the email sent and then schedule it for transfer day and just make sure it pings straight in there? Their email section the first minute of transfer day, because you've got to surely get him in with the performance he's put in the season. His return for a loanee, and I say that because some loanees have come under the criticism when they've gone to clubs of, when the season got to a nothing point, he stopped trying, and he's never sharked away from the responsibility. And I think he's had a really good season, and the fact that he was brought in originally to play on the right, and something we've seen with phone one.
Hello. All right, we'll come back to that. But I get what you're saying. So that is Craig's moment of the season. Are you still with us, Brad?
Can I just say on Lookman needs to be signed, because he's a good player, but also if we don't keep the squad we've already got, we're going to go backwards.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's the bare minimum that you've got to do, is keep the squad that you've already got.
Yes.
Ideally, obviously, you want to add to it too, which I think they will do, especially if they sell Yuri and others and have a better player out. But I think he's done more than enough to get a full-time contract. More than enough.
And I think if we don't sign him, I honestly think somebody else will nip in and sign him.
For sure.
To be honest with you. I don't know if Brad, you were still with us? No, Brad's gone altogether now. So what I'll do is I will read his out here, which we touched on before. You could not expect or what a comeback. Let's just say what a comeback. You've been out for, 3/4 of the season plus. You come back in one of the biggest games of the season and you go up and score a goal. I mean, he's Superman, isn't he, Craig?
I mean, he's just phenomenal, isn't he? And, we talked, I talked about Maddison getting into any team in the Premier League. I think only maybe Man City, but I think let's put it this way. He may not get in directly into the team of any team in the Premier League, but every team would take him right now. If he was on the market, there'd be a bun fight for him. It was great to see. He looked to be having so much fun after that final whistle had gone against Southampton. He was there. His mates were there. They were having a great laugh with him. He was given the old sort of slap in the badge. He looked like this was a place that he wants to be. And I think he comes across as a guy who has a good head on his shoulders, and he knows that this is probably the best place for him to get 2 or 3 seasons of Premier League football under his belt before making that big move. And we all know that's going to come.
Yeah.
We've just got to enjoy him while we've got him. But I think he knows that he's in the right place, and he comes out and says the right things, and he appreciates all the support he got while he was injured, not just from the club, but from the fans as well. And phenomenal. And what a great way to come back with that goal.
I mean, it was his mate, because I did see him on the ground with somebody that wasn't with the club on top of him, and I thought, oh no, we haven't got a crowd invasion as well, have we? But that was family, was it? Or friends, I should say.
Yeah, it was definitely whether it was family or friends, I don't know, but there was wine as well in front of the cop. They lifted him up and sort of ran with him towards the crowd as if they were going to throw him over the fence. But he was loving it, and he looks well at home, and long may he stay.
Lou, Chelsea, we've already been linked with him when he went in the January window when he wasn't even playing. Like
I think there'll be teams coming for him this summer. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Chelsea have lost. Basically, they could lose Aspilicueta. They've already lost Christensen. They've already lost Rudiger. Wouldn't surprise me if there's an inquiry incoming.
We can't let him go, can we, Lou?
No.
I know, hopefully not. But it depends, doesn't it? Because of the injury, I think that may put people off this season. Because you're going to have to think, well, is that an injury that's going to reoccur? Because you don't want to spend 40. I mean, I don't even know how much Leicester would put on him as a price, but I think it would be quite high. No, they're not going to want to sell him for sure. What I loved about this game the most, obviously the goal was very, very important, but it was the way he played. It was like he'd never been injured. He was still making tackles. He was still trying to obviously influence the game as much as possible. There's no pulling out of anything. And that was, for me, was the worry when he came back, was, is he going to be willing to do all that still after the injury? You know, it's a serious injury that a lot of players do not come back from. And obviously his age is very much on his side in his recovery. But it's the mental side that I was worried about. And after that game, I was just not worried, and the goal just was the icing on the cake.
And can I just redeem myself from my Daka moment that Fofana scored against Rennes, not PSV?
Was it right?
Yeah.
Well, Liz is not here. I'm going to blame. I'm going to blame Brad. I've got written down here Fofana scoring on return. And I think I may well have typed it wrong, but Brad's not here, so he's going to get the blame. And, and he's not here to argue with me. And you are redeemed. You are redeemed, sir. You are redeemed. Well, we've got 4 different ones there. So we haven't got a 4th vote here, but we've got Inacho goal versus Man City in the Charity Shield. Teams at the KP versus Roma, Lookman goal versus Liverpool, or Fofana scoring on his return, whoever that may be against.
Brad's just sent me a message saying that he's voting for the Liverpool Lookman goal.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
we believe that.
There, look, on the front, yeah.
Yeah. Take a screenshot and post it. Okay, I'm going to come to you first then, Craig. You can't go for the Lookman goal. Which of the one are you going to go for?
I'm going to go for yours then, Chris.
Ooh, that surprised me. That does surprise me.
Well, I think I take Lou's point, but I really thought the atmosphere when we played Napoli was phenomenal as well, and they were very noisy. So maybe that's because I'd seen that already, that it was slightly. I'll slightly mark it down, Lou, but that's me being picky because I've got to pick one.
He is the Simon Cowell of the panel here tonight, isn't he? Where do your trousers stop? Under your armpits?
I'm not telling you. Who says I've got any on?
Good. It was rather not the right question to ask, really. Lou, you can't go for Roma.
For me, it has to be Fofana's comeback goal, and attached to that the performance, but the goal as that moment again, like there's always a worry when anyone comes back from injury, but he played so well before he got injured. He just was doing so well, and I wanted him to succeed for so many different levels, obviously because he's a Leicester player, but also because he just seems a really down to earth person. Like he just like seems like the kind of person you want to get behind and want to do well. And like I said, didn't look like he'd been away. And then, obviously, like I said before, the goal is the icing on the cake.
I was thinking about this while you were going. We could really do with Brad here. I was thinking about this while you were talking through each of yours. And in fairness, there's a good case for all of them. I'm not going to lie. Unfortunately, I'm going to throw the cat among the pigeons, which means that we don't have a winner in this department. But I have got to go with yours, Craig, and that was the Lookman goal versus Liverpool. And I think for me, and I get, as I say, there's a good case for all four of them. But for me, having lost to Liverpool only the week before, in the manner of which, we were through, game was almost over. They came back as Liverpool do. Went to penalties. We lost on penalties, and we'd got off the team out, and we went for every tackle there. We were throwing our bodies, weren't we, in the way? It was like Rorke's Drift revisited. It really
it's just
was.
For me. It's just the moment I can, and I was at all of those. Obviously, I wasn't away at the when Fofana scored, but the Roma and the Community Super Cup Shield, and it was just
that's his full name, the Community Super Cup Shield.
Yeah, but yeah, that Lookman goal was the first thing that I thought of. It just I can still feel the feelings that I felt when that went in, and the crowd just erupted. It was phenomenal.
Yeah. I will try and get hold of Brad and get his vote for after, just to see. And Chris, good evening. How are you? Welcome along. And Anthony, special moment, Chris being there with you. But yeah, it was. Yeah. But like I say, that Lookman goal, I think it was just a case of when it happened, etc. As has Brad. Yeah, Brad's just messaged me. He's saying thanks for having him on and goodbye also to Craig and Louise. So I'll get an answer from him and I'll post that up later. Guys, thank you so much for everything you have done this season. It has really, really been it's been an enjoyable season, frustrating, but it was nice to go into the last day and not have anything to worry about.
True.
Whichever end of the table, which we normally have fun with.
There has been in our position than Leeds and Burnley's, for sure.
Yes. And Dan, I think he's still crying, bless him.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. I actually linked into his show because I did the Soccer Sunday, and I linked into his show at half time when he was, I think they were 1-0 down, but there was still obviously 45 minutes to go, and he wasn't looking very happy, but he had a laugh and a joke. And I went to do the same afterwards, and I thought, I can't. It's his moment that he was having. I thought I'm not gonna put that up.
We know what he's like.
We have exactly. I did say to him, I said, we have been there, and it's always harder when it's not just one season, like Burnley being up 6 or 7 on the run. It does make it harder. Louise, I'm going to see you later in the summer for the Ladies Euros.
Yes, indeed.
So looking forward to that. Fingers crossed. And thank you very much for coming on and obviously be in touch and take care.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Louise.
Take
care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. And Craig, we're going to be back with you for quizzes.
We will indeed. Yes. There's my pencil is scribbling lots of ideas down, so we'll formulate something, and we'll come back with something even better than last year's quiz.
Even better. Your pencil is being sharpened, is it?
Indeed, it is.
I don't know quite how to take this. I don't know where this is going at all.
Yeah, maybe
but
just.
We have got a favourite moment here from Terry, and I think to be honest with you, if I can just find it. He absolutely loved his favourite moment of the season was this, if I can find it at all here. Was it this one? Let's have a look. He liked the old Babe Station music.
Oh, did he?
Now,
it says more about Terry than anything else.
I think it does, actually. I think it does.
Takes him back to his teenage days and middle-aged days.
The old 5-minute preview. I think Terry, though, actually recognises this music more. And on that, we shall leave it. Craig's pretending he's looking like, I don't know that one.
No.
Yeah. Craig, we'll speak soon about the quiz.
Yes,
Thank
mate.
you very much today. It's been a long one, but hey, I think we got decisions right there.
I think you got most of those decisions right there, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah. And we agreed on a lot of them.
We did.
Thanks very much,
We
Craig.
did.
All the best.
You're welcome.
I'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Cheers, Chris. Bye,
Cheers.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye-bye. Thanks to Craig there, our wise old owl. Bit of a longer show tonight, but we have been doing the awards. And let's, I want to say this, thanks to everybody who has taken part in any of the shows and to all those who have watched and listened. Craig, Lou, and Brad when his phone's working. Scott for coming in and doing all the modding for me. But also, like I say, I couldn't do it without them. I could not do it without them. Let's have a quick recap here. So we started off with the game of the season. We gone the Liverpool game at home. We didn't start with that one at all. That was yes, we did. The Liverpool game at home. Roma first leg. Man United 4-2. PSV 2-1 away. That's probably where I got the PSV from, Craig. And of course, we decided on Liverpool for going to win that. Young player of the season. Take your pick. Take your pick of any of those four. I thought we could do with that. Actually, can you imagine if that was our midfield? Just clone him. That would be well good. Most improved. Marty got that with 2 votes. Dewsbury-Hall and Mendy were excellent shouts as well. Unsung player Inacho got a vote, Soyuncu as well. But Marty got his second award of the evening. Player of the season, I can see Dewsbury-Hall, but he's got his time. James Madison, fantastic season. We have got to hold on to that. Moment of the season, to me, it was Inacho's goal versus Man City in the Community Shield. Louise went for the team walkout versus Roma. Craig went for the Lookman goal versus Liverpool. And Brad had gone for Fofana scoring, but it was apparently against Rennes, not against PSV. So VAR not doing its job there. And like I say, but just it is a huge, big thank you to everybody who took part really immediately. We have literally got so much lined up for you. The football's over, but we've got so much coming up. Look, tomorrow, 7:00, myself and a couple of guests, Mike, Emilio, who's a Fulham fan and a Huddersfield fan, are coming on to do the championship review. We're going to look at Bournemouth and Fulham, why they came up, how Derby happened to go down. Cheers, Craig. Sorry, just seen that. Thanks very much. Excuse me. So 7:00 tomorrow, we are going to be looking at the championship. On Wednesday at 7:50, join me and Mike again. We should have been there. What was that song? It should have been me. We should have been there. Wednesday, 7:50 for 8:00 kickoff. It is the Europa Conference League final. Roma versus Feyenoord. Now, this one, Jerry Taggart, we've got him coming on. He will be talking to us about Leicester City's season. So it isn't a one-to-one in as much as we've done that with Jerry. He's done the one-to-one. So this one is very much talking about the season, and he'll be going through the games and Europe and what have you. So his thought on our season. We've all got thoughts on the season. And then this one, I've got to be honest with you, I've been giggling doing this. On Thursday at 7:00, it's the fans' prediction revisited. At the start of the season, I went to a fan of every team and I got their predictions about where they think their team will finish. And I've got to be honest with you, for probably 10 of those, there are comments. They are brilliant. They are brilliant. How things come back and bite you on the bum, Man United. Join me for that Thursday at 7. That's going to be a laugh. I'm going to leave you with this because I just loved when we did this so often in the last 3 games. You got to enjoy that, haven't you? And I've got to say as well, I'll leave you with this. please carry on supporting us. It is so much appreciated. Thank you so much to Miss Melina. She has been a help and a mentor since I started doing this a couple of seasons ago. Thank her. She's probably gone because she's over there in Canada. But thank you, and thank you so much for the donation today. Much appreciated. If you do want to show support for the show, you can become a member. It starts at very, very cheap. There's bronze, silver, and gold. And with the gold, you get discount on Leicester Till I Die leisure wears and merchandise. 5% discount if you're a member, gold member there. And you can also give I don't know what it's called. It's quite new from YouTube here. But I think you can give support with a little click. Whatever it is called, you can give us a little click. And let's have a look. Let's have a look what it is called. No, I can't see it at the moment, but you can certainly click and donate money that way as well. But no, Melina, you didn't have to. It is much appreciated. I will see you tomorrow when we're going to be looking at the Championship. Bournemouth are back up. Yes, well done, Bournemouth. Well done. 10 minutes down the road on the bus. Brilliant. And Fulham are back as well. Will they make a good fist of it this season and stay up? They can't do a Norwich and a Watford. We've picked on them this season. I don't want to pick on Fulham next season. We will see. And who's coming up? Huddersfield or Forest? Who do you want up? Do you want a local derby? Or do you want to just say, we want to see Forest lose at Wembley? That's what I'm going for. Guys, thank you so much for watching Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube. Please give us a subscribe and hit that like button and notification bell. And if you are listening on Spotify, Google, Apple iTunes, Amazon, Podcast Addict, whatever your podcast platform is, we are all over the place. It's great. Thank you so much for listening. You have a good one too, Anthony. Thank you so much indeed. I will see you guys at 7 o'clock. I'm off to drop the kids off at the pool. I will see you tomorrow at 7. Stay safe and don't do anything I wouldn't enjoy. Goodbye.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.
That's all, folks.
Some people are on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now.